Welcome back to the Rangers News YouTube channel. My name's James Black and I'm joined by Cameron Willis after yet another mental Europa League game as Rangers booked their place in the last 16 of the Europa League. They're 5-2 win over Royal Antwerp to secure a 9-5 aggregate win. It wasn't quite as bonkers as the last game, but it wasn't a kick in the arse off it. Goal for Alfredo Morelos, Nathan Patterson on his return after his COVID stuff, Ryan Kent, and then a couple of penalties for Borna Barisic and Cedric Kitten had Rangers on their way. Now, before we go into the game and look at it in a wee bit more depth, I just want to ask if everybody likes and subscribes. Help the channel grow. We can produce more content and new stuff and all different stuff. And we would really, really appreciate it if you can help us reach 6,000 after recently hitting 5,000. So, Cammy, back to the game. It wasn't as mental as last week, but it wasn't for the want of trying, was it?
No, I mean, another 7 goals, another rake of penalties. After last week's match, I was all over the place. You know, it was so frenetic, and the game was really on the line. And I think because it never looked in doubt from a Rangers perspective, I thought that we started on fire and we were playing some absolutely amazing football. We were looking like this really hungry young European team, and who have really kind of taken to this stage and are finding their feet on it. And I thought we really looked like that in the first 25 minutes. And Ryan Kent, who was outstanding, forces them kind of 2 saves off the keeper before we even score. And then the first goal comes from him closing down in that. And I just thought we were all over them, and we looked so impressive. And I think anybody watching that, like as a neutral, must have thought, wow, that Rangers team really have something about them. The goals were obviously ridiculously sloppy, save for the period after they equalised. We looked rattled. I thought Balogun he's obviously a centre-back, he's not a right-back, so I know that he played well, particularly in the second half last week, but it kind of obviously his deficiencies at right back were shown up at this level. But obviously Patterson comes on, steals the headlines, but I thought it was a sublime team performance. And that kind of 15-minute spell before half-time was maybe the only rocky patch. I never thought we'd go out, but I thought we were kind of on the ropes a wee bit. But obviously that Patterson goal sets us in our way, and in the second half we thoroughly deserved to win by a comfortable margin, I thought.
There's one change for the weekend with Glenn Kamara coming back into the starting 11. Predicted 11 that I kind of went for during the week.
You called it, yeah. I noticed that beforehand. I was like, you'll be buzzing.
Just slyly throwing that in there.
You did well. It was a good, and it's a good team, by the way. I like that team.
Well,
it's good.
I mean, and then as we say, 9 minutes into the game, Morelos makes it 1-0. It felt already that the game was over then. Some really good stuff. The pressing was fantastic. And I didn't quite catch it at first. It was only when I seen the replays. That's a brilliant finish for Morelos.
Aye.
Really good finish.
I mean, he was sharp as attack all game. Once again, involved in every goal before he went off. Mm-hmm. But obviously the last one's the only one. But outstanding again. What a player he is. Like, honestly, he's only 24. He still has room to grow. We've got a real gem there. And I mean, there's been times where like asking prices have fluctuated so wildly with Morelos because there's always been interest or whatever. But Rangers rejected £16 million in the summer in the middle of a pandemic for a reason, you know. And I mean, the legal president, whether or not it's €16 million or £16 million, I think there's a wee bit of conjecture. But either or, we rejected big money for a reason because he's worth more than that. Yeah, and he was outstanding tonight, and again a lovely, neat little finish. And we were thoroughly deserved to be 1-0 up when he scored. And I was so happy it was him that scored because he never got one last week.
That's Morelos' 23rd European goal. Speculation over his future notwithstanding, can you get 30?
I mean, depending on who we get in the draw tomorrow, you're backing him to be a goal scorer, regardless. You know, you're backing him to get a goal. Maybe, I mean, if he's here next season, but the lure of Champions League football might keep him here. And again, it's like, I think he's contracted 2023, so we maybe could get away with keeping him for another year. So it's an interesting situation, but Morelos is developing into a really complete striker, you know, and he's got a real selflessness and a huge work rate and just great ability. And that's one aspect of his game that I don't think it's kind of talked up enough. Actually, how good a football player he is, how good he is at the ball at his feet. He links the play up. I mean, for Patterson's goal, the second one, he slips it through and he's had the defenders on toast the whole game, but for Kent's goal, he knocks it past the guy. You know, it's not as if he's got like the biggest turn of pace, but amazing. And I mean, it just looks like it comes so naturally to the guy, you know. And even when the boy goes down and he's getting praised for the kind of sporting gesture of stopping the game. See that play there? He slows the game just right. It was just really impressive taking it into the corner like that. But he's the main man. And in terms of how many goals he can get for Rangers, it just depends how long he's here, because whilst he's playing for Rangers, he will score goals. It's clear.
And after he made it 1-0, it was plain sailing for there for a while. Shortly before Antwerp equalised, they kind of had their first real chance at goal, and even at that, you kind of felt that was going to be it from them. And then 90 seconds or so later, Rafalov makes it 1-1. Comet Cut's defending again. It's been time and again for us in Europe, and it's really, I don't know if it's because we're so comfortable domestically at the back. I mean, we've conceded 9 goals or whatever it is. And then you look at Europe, you've got 5 goals across these 2 games. You've got 5 against the Benfica games. There have been a few other games in Europe where we have conceded 2-3 goals. So, did Comet Cut stuff again for the equaliser?
I mean, it's hard because it's obviously another level altogether, you know, and the people are getting paid a certain amount as a result of how good they are technically as footballers. You know, the wages go up, the transfer fees go up, everything goes up as you get into Europe, and it's really into arenas where it's difficult for us to kind of play ball. So we rely on different aspects of a game. I think this Rangers team can kind of punch above its weight, but it's a learning curve, you know, and it's a steep one. If Rangers are to go and go deep into the competition, obviously it's all draw dependent really, but they need to learn from these mistakes and this kind of stuff. I think from an entire squad perspective, obviously it shows you how much we kind of missed that natural right back, because that Lukaku is a good player. You know, he's a Belgian international. He played for Lazio and stuff, and I mean, I don't know too much about him, but he played well. He had Balogun on toast for that 15 minutes. Balogun was all over the place. And again, another top player, by the way. And I didn't even know this guy before we played Antwerp, but that Rafalov is a top player. And he was involved in both goals. And interesting, because I don't really know him, and he has a decent age. But I was very impressed with him over both legs, and it was a neat finish. But he just done him, and it's a standard thing, you know, and it's a learning curve, and Rangers need to learn on their feet, and because we're right in the midst of it now, you know, there's some real momentum behind us in Europe, and it's exciting. It's not just Rangers fans' eyes that are on us, and I'm not just talking about Scotland, but everyone in Europe will be watching this because Steven Gerrard factor, how we're playing, you know, it's a great story, and I would love for it to continue for as long as possible.
Yeah, and the goal itself, Balogun looked a bit culpable amongst. There was a couple of others who also were a bit off it. Aribo lost his man. But then shortly after it, Balogun got himself booked, which, fit or not, I mean, he limped off injured, was replaced at the break. He's going to miss the first leg of the last 16 regardless through suspension. But did you have the fear that it was going to be one of these nights where he does a John Flanagan and gets himself sent off or something utterly ridiculous?
I thought that he was having a bad game, and then see the thing is when the team sheet came out, I just focused purely on the 11, and I was busy doing something, so I hadn't been on Twitter or anything. It wasn't until that happened that I realised
you missed the shitstorm as the subs were announced.
I realised. Hold on a second. There's those 3 players on the bench: Bassey, Zungu, and Patterson. So he brings them on, and I mean, it was just it's just a natural right back thing. I thought that the comments of Balogun last week when he talked about Tavernier going off and the readjustment Rangers had to make, I thought that that nervousness that he was obviously summarising then was clear in that first half once that Lukaku started getting at him, because I think it was Antwerp obviously targeted it because they would have been looking at how we played with Tavernier and saying like they're going to try and kind of do something similar with a player that isn't natural in that position. I thought he was targeted. And yeah, he was he was all over the place a wee bit, but he's not a natural right back, you know. So it's like, again, that levels thing. So it's difficult to be too harsh, but Patterson come on and changed the tone of the game.
Well, we got to the break 1 each. It was Rangers largely in control of the game up to that point. I don't think, even allowing for a scoreline, anybody was particularly concerned that we were going out.
I wasn't concerned that wee 15 minutes before half time. I thought that they were really stepping it up, and they were kind of.
I think once you got through that, and it was still 1-1 when you got to the break, I think that was kind of, you're going to get that chance to go and reset. And then I saw Patterson come on, and what an impact! 20 seconds, I think it was, for the restart.
Oh, I know, unbelievable. I mean, a great finish as well for the boy. Just great running, you know. But I mean, Morelos again, great vision, slips in on a plate for him. They'll be fuming Antwerp because they were sleeping, but just so determined, and how much it meant to the boy. So good, man. And obviously, every day's just been a lot said about Patterson and the COVID thing, and I just think it's important to trust the club. And there's obviously been a big process, and there was a big 10 days when they were away, but as well, and bringing Zungu on later, I know it was later in the match, I think shows that there's still an appetite maybe for that guy to be there. So it's one of them. It's difficult because it was so emotional at the time, and you can understand why, but I think it's a club matter, and let's just hope that when it comes to somebody like Patterson, because he's obviously a top talent, he's just come on the Europa League. It takes big balls to do that, to bounce back from what's happened and then come on the pitch and score, you know, let alone the fact that it's also a sign of the ability that you've got. He comes on, does it. So it's a shame if he gets a longer ban and we don't see him in Scotland, but I don't know the ins and outs of it, so you don't know how long a ban's going to be. I don't know anything, but they're clearly still under Steven Gerrard's nose. The squad is a certain size. Makes sense to have them still around if we need them, but if he's got some making up to do, he's well on the way to doing it, I think, after that tonight.
And then 10 minutes after Patterson's goal, Kent makes it 3-1. Your man Morelos right in the middle of it all again.
What a goal that was. Honestly, what a goal that was. Just before we come on to do this, I was watching all the goals again on Twitter, and honest to God, amazing goal. It's driven right through, a perfect pass for Kamara, just a lovely turn from Hadji, slip to Morelos, who's the kind of goal-making moment is when he skins that defender, takes it round him, and Kent's movement. I mean, that Richie Delatte guy, I thought was quite poor over 2 games. Yeah. I mean, he's a kind of old schoolish defender and stuff. I know he played for Man United and Leicester, but I thought we had him on toast. I thought he gave away the ball for the first one as well, didn't he?
Yeah. No, sorry, it was him that was. He was when Morelos nicked just in front of him when it came through.
So I mean, I don't think he covered himself in glory in both incidents, but and then it was just some finish. I thought that was the goal of the night. Absolutely top strike for Rangers. And again, that thing that we talking about at the start of the video, that the Rangers team looking like a kind of fluid, young, exciting team on the European stage. I thought that was another prime example of it.
Weirdly, that goal seemed to prompt a bit of a response for Antwerp. The second one hadn't. After Patterson scored, there was like nothing really at all from Antwerp for the next 5-10 minutes after it. Kent scores and they virtually go right up the park and bring one back. Again, though, some real poor defending. McGregor and Goldson kind of 6s and 7s. What's going on defensively in Europe?
It's just, I don't know, it's just a complete lack of communication, I think. I mean, it's just that comedy thing when you see them and they clash into each other like that. It's just comedy stuff. But, I mean, the guy snuck in front. I initially thought he'd maybe handballed it, but he hadn't. But we just didn't deal with it when it came in, and there was just confusion in communication. But like I say, you get punished, you make mistakes, and it's not just seeing Scotland. You don't get tested as much, and if you do, the quality isn't there to punish you as often. So it's just one of those things that deficiencies perhaps in these defenders' games are just. I mean, you can also just put it down to an error, but it's consistent. You know, it's the fact that you don't go off it at this level. So when you make mistakes, you get punished, and we just need to tighten it up because there's some big names in the competition left now, and Rangers could potentially get a really challenging tie.
It was all a bit routine after kind of their second goal. Barisic getting a penalty again. Some penalty itself, no doubt about. Really nice finish for Barisic. But it's just, there seemed this really weird thing with the ref almost seemed to kind of lose control of the game a little bit without there actually being a whole lot of anything going on. It just kind of seemed to all get really hectic for 10 minutes at the end of it for some reason.
Maybe just to sums up the kind of hecticness of the match and the play that had led to so many goals and so much madness throughout. That big Lamarchan started having an absolute shocker. The boy that's on loan from Fulham, he got yellow card, he gave away the penalty, and he was a wee bit all over the place. And by that point, Antwerp are beat, but there's still a frenziness to the game, and Rangers took bodies onto the pitch to make an impression. And I think the message was just the same. It was just go out there and try and make an impression. And obviously later that did. I thought Zungu did all right. Again, he's a kind of player that you're never going to be able to assess because of the role that he plays in the pitch as being like a match winner or something like that. So it's really difficult when he's coming on and doing 10-minute cameos for Stephen Davis to truly get a picture of the style of play and what kind of player this guy is. So, I mean, I thought he done well and he was neat and tidy, but I thought it was a little bit mad and a little bit loose towards the end, but Rangers saw it out and won it comfortably, and I thought that we were good for the margin of the victory.
Were you surprised to see Cedric Kitten take the second penalty?
I've just watched the interview with Barisic. It's absolutely amazing. The guy's he says, listen, I'm the one that is supposed to take them, but Cedric needs confidence, so I let him take it and all that. And I mean, he fires it right down the middle and the keeper's legs. It hits off the keeper's legs. I mean, it was the way that he hit it, I don't think, unless the keeper was sitting still, he's going to save it. But I just thought that was a nice touch for Barisic. You know, it just maybe sums up the kind of togetherness that's in the team. And with the fact that you've got Morelos firing, playing the way that he is right now, and you've got a striker in the background who you're trying to kind of get up to a performing level, shows that there's options at Rangers. And as well, he was sitting pointing at the badge and all that. You know, the big man loves it. I think maybe he's been toiling a wee bit because when he's been given opportunities, it's not happening for him. So I think maybe that goal mean a lot to him. It's his second in Europe as well, and he's a striker, so strikers love getting on the score sheet. But fair play to Barisic for passing that up, and maybe that'll kind of keep him on penalties and be calmer for missing the one at the weekend, because obviously he missed one against Dundee United.
And man of the match, Buffalo.
I mean, Morelos and Kent were standouts. You know, I think Morelos just across his entire performance was absolutely outstanding. Kent in flashes just looked a level apart from anyone else in the pitch other than Morelos. I thought he was absolutely fantastic, particularly in the first half. So between them two, but it's got to be Morelos just because he's involved in 4 goals, you know, and he's just unplayable when he's like that, you know, and I don't think defenders at any level will enjoy playing against wee Morelos, man. But I'm just so happy to see him back playing, and the development in his game is clear and stark, and it just looks like he could go on to be a top player. I really, really rate him.
And so tomorrow, last 16 draw. Anybody that jumps out that you immediately want? I mean, as it sits, we're only kind of halfway through as we do this, so there's fixtures ongoing just now. But looking at most of the games, Ajax are comfortably ahead. Ajax won, but you've got
they did. Yeah,
PSV, Olympiacos are 4-4 in aggregate. Young Boys look like they're through. Dinamo Zagreb look like they're through. Roma look like they're through. United are through. A few others that are kind of on a knife edge, but end it immediately you'd like to get.
Mulder played Hoffenheim, knocked them out, but Hoffenheim are 11th in the Bundesliga. I think they've just had a dramatic fall off this season. Mulder, obviously the smallest team that's left in the competition, so you're talking about progression, you want them, although obviously underestimate them at your peril, you know, but I don't think Rangers have that in them. I think they take every match seriously. So, and the fact that we play in Scotland might maybe suit us against a team like Mulder, but I don't know enough about them, so I could be talking rubbish. They could be a swashbuckling unit, but that name kind of stands out. Maybe the winner of Club Bruges and Dynamo Kiev. But again, you'd have to go to Ukraine. You'd have to go back to Belgium. But I'm talking about teams you could beat. I mean, Ukraine would be a bit of a nightmare journey because
played half the Belgian league at this rate.
I know, but there's teams there's ties that are winnable. For me, I want a winnable tie. I want to go one further, and then after that,
And you really don't want.
Tottenham. I think Tottenham are on course to kind of flop for the Champions League and the Premier League. So I think they are keen to win that. They beat Wolfsberger 4-0 last night, and for all the kind of stuff you could potentially say about them and haven't been inconsistent in England, I think just the way Mourinho's won this competition before, he knows his way around it, and he's a good man motivator. I think they're probably, for me, the favourites for the competition, and I want to avoid them in the next round simply because I want to get the quarter-final. But I would take them in the quarters, or see, to be fair, I'd take the easiest route to the final. So it's by the by, but I'd rather have a kind of easier draw. Man United would be a tough draw as well, and I don't know, there's like Roma and Ajax as well as another notoriously tough draw. So a smaller one than that just for this round, and then maybe I could take a big glamour tie because we've not had a proper huge glamour tie.